I think New Zealand are a good chance. I'd love to say Australia's a good chance. I really do hope they are. To me, the probably two top teams would be the West Indies and New Zealand. Just the way they're playing, the style of cricket that they're playing, they'll probably be my two picks. I just think they've got a good blend of players. They've got a really nice balanced side. I think Brendan McCullum has left them in a really good place, and they're positive. They've got that momentum going forward. And they're like leading from the front. They've got spinners, they've got batsmen, they've got all rounders. So they're ticking every box. Look, I think that the respect has always been there, but certainly we've been impressed. And personally, I think from about 2010 onwards, the cricket's improved so much. Certainly in the real short form of the game in T20 cricket. So they're becoming a side now that Australia are finding very tough to beat, as we found out last game. Yeah, look, it's funny when you look at a team on paper. It could look like the best team in the world on paper in terms of batting, but for some reason we've struggled in T20 cricket. We scraped our way through the other night to get a win. The bowling department, I think, has probably been our weakest part. Batting the top six has always been very powerful, but the bowling is something that I think Australia will definitely need to work on. Oh, look, I just think it's experiencing. We've got a lot of unexperienced or inexperienced bowlers in the Australian lineup, other than Shane Watson. And I'm really proud that Shane Watson's been taking the new ball for Australia. It proves that he's the experienced campaign's got the most wickets for Australia in that format. He's trying to lead from the front. But certainly towards the end of the innings has probably been our biggest issue. Yeah, look, I think looking back at some stats in terms of how many runs per over they go for, over the last 3 or 4 years, it's been pretty consistent. So it's saying that bowlers at the death are doing a good job. I still think that it can improve. I still think the Yorker is a ball that's gone missing. It's gone into the wilderness in the last 3 or 4 years. But somehow the bowlers are finding a way to knock batsmen over. The batsmen are very inventive the way they're playing different shots now. So the wide line Yorkers come into play, the slow ball bouncer, two different deliveries that spring to mind. But I think Australia would definitely need to work on bowling at the death, because that's obviously where they're getting a lot of their runs leaked from about 16 overs onwards. I think death bowling, whether it's the last day of a test match, whether it's 50 over cricket or 2020 cricket, it's still the same thing. You've got to bowl and contain and try and take wickets. The ego, I think personally, in T20 cricket is left at the hotel. Not even with death bowling, that's already back at the hotel. It's in the safe. You put your 4 digits in, it's locked away. Forget it, come home. And look, that's the way the game is. You just got to really take all that ego aside and realise that as a bowler, and certainly as a quick bowler, you will go for runs at some stage. I think so, but I think it still can be bowled. It's match awareness, and if you had a guy like Dilshan in at the end, I still can't understand why teams bowl with the fine leg up. So when you're bowling as a quick and Dilshan's in the 18th over, he's going to do that. That's obviously his bread and butter. So first and foremost, you have to know who you play against. You got to know their strengths and weaknesses. And someone does love the paddle or the ram shot or whatever you want to call it. You put your fine leg back and you can still bowl at Yorker, because then he's in two minds and he doesn't know which way to go. So the Yorker to me is still a very important ball. I think he hits the box pretty well. Certainly bowling at that between what we call the cage, or between the two lines, and the return crease and popping crease. He does that very well, and he does it without using his front arm. And the first time I watched him live, I thought, this guy can get 10 k's quicker if he used his front arm. Now his action's working for him, so whether a bowling coach wants to tinker with his action, that's up to them, but I still think that he can bowl quicker. He's hitting over 143 k's though, so he's got good pace, good control. It looks like a really good find for India. No, look, it's just that part where he gets his left arm up, but as he's bowling the ball, he pulls through nicely, so he gets through his action beautifully. He's got good control with his wrist. I think he's good, and people might say it looks like an awkward action, but have a look at Jeff Thompson. His action was like a corkscrew. Still, he bowled 160 k's and did 200 test wickets. So if it works, don't try and change it.
First I've heard that, corkscrew.
Yeah, it screws up and poof. 100%, definitely. You can go to Iceland and there'll be someone that loves Sachin Tendulkar. He's well known, a lovely guy to go with it, a lot of patience. I had the pleasure to play against, Tendulkar. Ganguly to me was another big player who walked out with some presence. And then Lakshman, who was impossible to get out. If you get out Sachin Tendulkar, you feel great, but if you get out Lakshman, it's like a miracle. I've said that a million times. And then you fast forward onto Kohli, someone like that. Yuvraj Singh. I mean, they've got some amazing batters and all different style of players too. Well, when you think T20 players, you think of Virat Kohli, AB, David Warner, Shane Watson, Chris Gale. I mean, that's a pretty handy top five. I haven't even mentioned Aaron Finch. I haven't even mentioned Yuvraj Singh on his day. Rohit Sharma. These types of players that are absolute quality players. Ashwin. I mean, you talk about a guy who's attacking spinner playing in the T20 format, that would have been laughed about 3 or 4 years ago. But he's proven it. He's got a great, and certainly like in Test cricket too, he's up there with the best. So there are some great players around, and it's exciting to watch. But someone like a Chris Gale when he's going, who takes a lot of risks, as opposed to Virat Kohli, who's structured on the ground, takes no risks and still scores at the same rate. Pretty impressive. Look, it's hard to say, isn't it? You know, there's no Shoaib Akhtar springs to mind, there's no Wasim Akram springs to mind, no Glenn McGrath. Mitchell Starc, to me, when he's fit, he's probably the world's, I think, best bowler of swing, conventional and also reverse swing, because he's got a beautiful action, a nice clean action, bowls over 100, bowled 160 in Perth, but bowls over 150 Ks. He's probably the pick. I've always been a fan of Dale Steyn. There's been a lot said about Dale Steyn's pace is reduced now. He's not the bowler he has or he was. I still think Dale Steyn's got a lot to offer, so they're probably my 2 picks.